Welcome back. Game 2, friendly weekend. OMA Boji Mammoth, Omaha Junior Mavericks. Mavericks won game 1 4-2 with an empty netter from Roman Stonebreaker in that second go-ahead goal. Game-winning goal by Jake Courtright, Will Allers with a massive assist to create that game winner. Then, or actually, that turned into not being the game winner. The game winner would have been to Vinny Heater, the third goal of the game. Vinny Heater with some dirty work in the crease that got him up 3-2, and then the deficit increased from there. Heater, Stoney, T-squared out on the face-off drop for game 2. Puck dropped. Win back to Boji on their own blue line. They try to tap it ahead, intercepted by Vinny Heater. Heater working his way up the short wall, feed to the middle, through the slot, over to T-squared, fires up over the net. That one into the netting, came back down to the ice surface, so they'll stop the play. 11:45, now 15 seconds into the game. Keeney and the Bear on defense, dragging the line for the Omaha Mavericks here as we have another face-off, this time in Boji territory. Stoney leans in. Puck goes loose to the boards and batted out to the blue line. Bear had it bounce over his tape. Vinny swings it hard towards the net. T-square picks it up behind. A little scrummage below the goal line here with T-square and a couple opponents. Rings up to the short wall. A nice long bomb pass by Boji. This is their technique. Out of reach this time, and an icing is the call, but a dangerous play technique that led to led to one of their goals on the last game and a lot of breakaway chances for them. I guess, I don't know, I'm exaggerating. Not a lot, but led to some dangerous breakaway chances for the Boji Mammoths. So that's the play that Boji's pulling off that's really getting the jump on the Mavs. A struggle off the face-off drop, comes out to the slot and then pushed out of the zone. Ike resets in the neutral zone over to Boss. Boss cross ice to Taz. Taz gains territory up the short wall, hits the brakes, gets the nudge, feeds the slot. Boji's there to tap it back into the corner. Courtright tried to get there. Boji fed it up the short wall. Boss pinches, lost it in his skates for a moment, kicked ahead to Courtright. Courtright fed it out to Allers. Allers stick handles to the dot. Now down below the goal line, turns around, sauces it back out to the Boss on the blue line, fires into the legs. Ike hustles back to pick it up. Ike has an attacker, hits the brakes on the short wall, works his way up the neutral zone. Mavericks go on a change. Ike outnumbered by D, still on the puck. Now deep in the corner, feed to Patera, top of the slot, loses it. Paxson comes in and fires. Paxson puts one right in the chest of the Tendy and stops the clock at 10:26. We got Rosie in the net for the Mavs this game. A terrific victory by the Beast in game 1. Rosie's gonna get his shot at game 2. Out comes Sturba. Paxson on the face-off draw since Paxson charges in towards the net, ringing around the goal, works his way back out to Nandor, fires from the blue line into a player, gets his own, taps it to the slot, fire from Patera. Patera gets his shot blocked, and Boji feeds it out into the neutral zone. Fleming picks it up at the top of his own circle, mishandled slightly, regains control, nice behind the back pass, working it up the short wall. Fleming turns on the afterburners. 2-on-2. He's got Sturba. Fleming, cross from the dot, fires. Big bobbled save by the Tendy, shuts the door. 9:47 left in the first period. 0-0 the score. Big scoring attempt and coast to coast from Will Fleming. Out come fresh legs. Vinny Heater, T-squared. Roman Stonebreaker with the Bear and Keeney on defense. Face off in Boji territory. Puck drops back to Boji. Tried to pitchfork it out of the zone. Stuck in the corner. Comes loose out to Stoney. Top of the circle. T-squared ties up with him a little bit. Stoney frustrated about the communication. Comes back to the blue line. Bear to Stoney. Top of the slot. He gets it jumbled off of his tape. Boji fires it out center ice. Out of reach of anybody. This one icing once again. These guys just looking for the long bomb passes. That's their game. They feel like that's the only way they're going to get an offensive attack. So Mavs needing to keep their guard up and really staying on their toes at the defense to foil any of those sandbagger plays that we call them. That's the nickname for those plays. Coming from the Boji Mammoth. A win from the face-off drop, rings around behind the goal. Then comes loose and wild all the way across ice. Icing is the call once again by Boji. I've got a feeling we're going to see a lot of these. This is going to be a marathon game here if we keep getting these icing calls by Boji.
Another thing that high man's going to do, our defense are going to step back to cover him, and that's going to take us off the points, and that's going to take away those shot opportunities that we get so many times.
Great point, yeah. Good call, Chase. Face-off draw comes back to the neutral zone, forcing Bear to reset. Bear takes his time, backhanded sauce up to T-squared. T-squared centers it just behind Heater. Boji intercepts. Nice pickpocket attempt by Stoney. Boji flubs it into the zone gently. Keeney off the wall. Foiled shot from Boji back to Keeney. Boji holds the blue line. Stoney kicks it out to neutral zone. A 3-on-1. Coming into the zone. Stoney fires just off the side of the net. Regains control. Tries to go to the middle. Gets kicked back to the corner. Rung around back up to Keeney. Blue line fires through traffic and scores. Keeney, is that his first goal of the season?
I don't think so.
A shot from the blue line. I think that might be Keeney's first goal of the season. Woo! A nice grounder, got a good handle on it. A hard wrist shot from the blue line. Abram Keeney puts the first goal on the board in game 2 and gets his first goal of the season. How about it? Face-off draw center ice. Tangled up quickly on the dot. Inks back to Ike. Ike gets some speed, gains territory. Top of the slot, stick handling. Poke check to the corner. Taz gets there. Batted off of his tape, rung out. Oh, a bad interference there on Will, but no call. Boji fires. Big save by Rosie. Rebound and saved again by Rosie. Courtright picks up the loose puck in the corner. Gaining speed out of his own zone. Got 2 to beat. Top of the circle. Now the dot hits the brakes. Feed to the middle. Boss picks it up top of the slot. Works his way through traffic back to the corner. Pushes it up the short wall. Loose puck out to Ike. Ike stalls it out. Stalls at the blue line. Couldn't quite get delayed in time. That was an offsides. Boys are frustrated. You don't see Courtright go coast to coast very often. Holy cow. He's gassed. He's going to go for the bench. Schneider, Sturba, Patera take the neutral zone face-off drop with Fleming and Nandor behind him. Tangled up in the referee's skates right off the draw. Bounces back into Boji territory. Patera and Sturba on their horse to forecheck. Comes up the short wall to Boji. Boji, tangled in their own players, is going to fire it back behind their own goal. Reset in their own corner. Fleming stops it at the blue line. Cross ice to Patera, bounced over his tape. Patera's got an attacker. Circles around one, tangled up with another. Boji popping it out to the blue line. Stopped momentarily by defense, and then Nandor gets control of it. Pushes it back comfortably to Fleming. Fleming pumps his feet. Gains offensive territory. Batted off of his tape. Sturba held the line. Shot it. Deflected off some legs to the corner. Boji picks it up. Patera on the attack, holding the short wall. Sturba feeds one right off the goalie's pads. Nice save. Swung back to Nandor. Nandor steps up, top of the circle, fires through traffic into the corner, bounces up to the short wall. Boji centering pass, nice intercepted by Schneider. Fed over to Nandor. Nandor right back into territory, gets through some traffic, loose puck to the sidewall. Fed it back to Fleming. Fires! Big save by the goaltender. Patera picks it up on the short wall. Patera can't stick handle past 2. They're trying to work their way out of the zone. They cannot. Stoney and Patera doing a good job holding the line until Boji whacks at it with all they got. Loose puck comes down into Maverick territory. Sturba, board pass. Not quite enough on it. Couldn't get it out of the zone. Boji fed it back in. This time Stoney's going to try and feed it out. Boji intercepts that one. Stoney's going to try again. Stick handles past one. He's going to skate it this time. Tony gaining speed through the neutral zone. Forced to the wall, hits the brakes, 2 attackers, loses a puck to the corner, goes around the horn. Vinny Heater with a lot of speed. Pushes his man aside, but Boji goes cross ice, gets it out of the zone. Stoney using his feet, disrupting a long pass. Here comes Fleming. Boji in control, cross the crease into the corner. Tries to center again. That one goes through the crease. Over to the short wall, now to the blue line. Fire blocked by Vinny Heater's legs. Bouncing puck at center ice. Batted into Maverick territory offsides. Line change for the Omaha Mavericks. 5 minutes and 20 seconds left in the first period. 1-0, your Mavs in the lead. Fresh legs for the center faceoff. Allers, Taz, court right. Keeney and the Bear on defense. Nice push ahead by Allers, court right, almost to it. Lost control, puck comes loose into the Boji bench and will stop the play at 5:14 left in the first. And that was in the zone when they batted it out, so they're going to come deep into Boji territory for this face-off. Same legs, court right, Allers, Taz remain on the ice with Keeney and the Bear backing them up. Allers leans in, batted back to Bear. Bear fires, goalie's shoulder, Taz crashing the net. Puck comes back out to Keeney. Keeney fires another one. Big save once again as Courtright and Taz were crashing the net. Nice pressure by the Omaha Mavericks in that, I'm going to call, that was a 15-second barrage of shots and net crashes. And big saves by the Boji Tendy. Same legs remain on the ice. Face-off draw again in Boji territory. Boji goes cross-ice feed to get it out of the zone. They do. Moves past Keeney, but not past the Bear. Bear resetting, gaining speed. Getting to it, 2-on-1, fires just high and wide over the net. Keeney gets the puck before it rings out. Pass the head to Allers. Allers pinched by 2 on the short wall. Pop fly out to center ice. 1-on-1, Boji the other way. Shot, big save by Rosie. Shuts the door on the Boji Mammoth. 4:35 left in the first period. 1-0, Mavericks still maintaining a lead. And out comes Sturba, Schneider, and Patera on offense, Ike and the Boss on defense. Neutral face-off win, picked up by Boss. Boss is charging the length of the ice. Boss forced to the wall from the bottom of the circle. 1-1 right into the goalie's glove, tried to go short side. Boji does a good job of forcing the offensive attack to the boards and the outside. That's less likelihood of scoring goals and not a bad defensive strategy. Boji wins the face-off, passes it out of the zone. Poke check by Boss at the blue line. Currently offsides, trying to regain and clear and couldn't do it in time. So that'll stop the clock at 4:12 and give us a neutral zone face-off here. Paxton, Patera, and Sturba will remain on the ice for offense with the Boss and Ike on defense. Paxton leans into this face-off draw, pokes it over to Patera. Patera muscles the puck ahead in the neutral zone. 1-on-2, couldn't stick handle through traffic. Boji with the pitchfork back out to neutral zone. Ike resets. Soft touch up to Patera. Patera gains zone. Top of the circle, lots of traffic. Feed to the middle, into the skates of Sturba. Sturba with a nice tie-up and a shot on goal, saved by the goalie. Ike came in to keep it in the zone, got battered off of his tape. Schneider circling in his own zone. Drop pass for the Boss. Boss gaining some speed into territory. Loses control, top of the slot. Sturba helps pick it up at the wall. Dumps it in deep, goes for the change. Nice lean in by Schneider. Deep in the zone, Patera attempting the poke check. Ike steps up from the blue line, keeps it below the goal line, circling behind the net, hits the brakes to get some room. Puck comes fluttering out to the crease, shot by T-squared, saved! Flung to the corner hard. Ike trying to keep it in the zone, bounces out to Patera at the blue line, fires off some legs, goes behind the net. T-squared gets it. Backhander gets deflected up into the glove from behind. The goalie will freeze that one with 3:02 left in the first period. Just kind of the same thing we saw in the first game. A lot of offensive attack by the Omaha Mavericks, kind of controlling the time of possession and time in the zone, but still some dangerous play. Shot from the blue line off the face-off. Nandor got his shot saved from behind the net. A little back and forth from Stoney to T-squared. T-squared from the corner. Up the boards out to Nandor. Nandor, the one touch, got deflected back to him, so he shot that one on net, got saved, kicked to the wall. Here comes Heater. Heater works his way around behind. He leaves it for Stoney. Stoney stick handling in the corner. Nice change of direction. He's going to get up to the short wall, being pushed off the puck. Here comes Heater to help. Heater from around behind the net. Pushes it out to Nandor. Nandor fires. Big save by the Tendy. This goalie is on his game. I'm telling you. There's got to be some sort of deflection or screen or one-touch pass to get one past him, because he just is on point and squares up to the shooter well. 2:24 face-off. 2:24 left in the first period. Face-off in Boji territory. A battle with Stoney popping out from the slot. Fires. Big save again. T-squared picked up the rebound behind. Circles into the corner. Now into the slot. Fire. Up into the netting. Goalie got a piece of that. And here we go. It's never ending. Just shots in time of possession by the Omaha Mavericks. What a fantastic shift by that Omaha Maverick line. That was now going to the bench for a little rest after they did their job well. Courtright, Taz, and Allers out there. Courtright hustles to a loose puck behind. Pushed out to the blue line, but dumped it in deep to the corner for Allers. Allers fed to the middle. Taz got tangled up. Boji, long bomb pass out to the neutral zone. Bears back to defend with Keeney. Nice poke check and feet by Bear. Forced the puck to the corner. Puck in the corner, tied up with two players. Rings around the horn over to the short wall. Keeney hurrying to it. Pokes it ahead. Blue line for Boji, keeps it in. A pop fly shot goes, and nice save by Rosie. Comes out to the short wall. Keeney and Courtright trying to keep it along the boards. Boji batted it off the side of the net. Allers picks it up. Nice dribble to get past one, and now he stick handles past two. Gentle pass up to Courtright. Outnumbered by defense. Top of the circle. Stick tied up. Running into too many players. Boji coming back the other way, but outnumbered by defense. They'll take the shot from outside the zone. Rosie will kick that one aside easily. Nice drop pass by Keeney to Bear. Bear zigzagging through traffic. 3-on-2. Bear, top of the circle, getting forced to the board. Shot from a bad angle. Comes back to him. Tied up in a player. He gets control behind the net. Tries to feed the middle. Kick back behind the net. Sturba rings it around the boards back to Bear. Bear fires, deflected into the rafters, and that one will stop the play with 43 seconds left in the first period. 1-0, Mavs maintaining a lead and some pretty good pressure here. They struggled to get it out of the zone for a few plays there, a few cycles, but once they got out of the zone, it was just quickly a shot on goal and quickly holding the line. Sturba, Paxton, Schneider, Charlie Patera out on offense. Schneider got tied up off the face-off draw. Puck still in the slot. A couple of shot attempts. Finally, a soft one goes to the goalie, and he swallows it up. Freezes the clock at 35 seconds left in the first. Ike and the boss on defense holding the line behind this Schneider offense. Pop fly, lost sight of it for a minute. Now loose in the slot. Schneider, big shot, bigger save. Comes back out to Schneider, feeds the boss. Blue line dumps it into the corner. Sturba feeds it back to Ike. He's got pressure. He pushes it to Sturbs. Sturbs will dump and chase. Puck deep in the corner. Patera can't get there. Boji feeds it around the horn. Nice job by Schneider holding the line. He'll feed it in deep. Sturba pinches behind the net. Flubs one out to the slot. Boji picks it up from there. 2 seconds are ticking off as Boji makes their way through the neutral zone. That'll end period one. 1-0. Your Mavericks in the lead. We're going to take a moment here and shout a huge thank you out to Charleston Homes, providing the best home building experience in Omaha since 2007. And thank you, Charleston Homes, for supporting the Omaha Junior Mavericks. Cottonwood Salons and Suites, You do way more than sponsor our team, and we thank you for everything you do, Aunt Jessie. Nebraska Electric Power Sports, they sell fun. Experience the future of electric dirt bikes with Nebraska Electric Power Sports. And Grandpa Joe with Joe Challen Checks. I'm going to try that again. Grandpa Joe with Joe Challen Tech Services. Hit myself with a tongue twister. Thank you to all of our sponsors for everything you do for the Omaha Junior Mavericks. Far more than just your sponsorship. And doesn't go unrecognized and unwelcome. Fresh 12 minutes will go on the clock. Mavericks war cry rings out. Boji remaining at their bench here for some strategy planning here. Nandor, Fleming will be on defense here to start the second period. Rosie staying between the pipes to defend the net. Stoney, T-squared heater out there on offense. Stoney taking more drops. Schneider taking some of these face-off drops without Jack Davis being here today as the third center. Tremaine is the missing forward as well, so we're 2 men down. Face-off draw, neutral zone. Heater gets it in. Fires one towards the net, bounces off the back. T-squared loses his footing. Nandor pinches. T-squared, top of the slot. Fires. Loose puck. Sturba battling. Stoney trying. Another one goes wide of the net. I think only one shot attempt on that barrage that stalled out in front. Boji pop fly out to neutral ice. Nandor stopped it at the red line. He's going to chase his own. Puck just crossed the line as Stoney using those quick feet to keep it in that direction, just right on the blue line. So offsides Mavericks. 11:24 left in the second period. 1-0 your Mavs in the lead. Fresh legs come out for both teams for this neutral zone face-off. Court right, Taz and Allers for offense. LeBaire and Keeney for defense. Puck drops, nice gentle tap ahead by Will to court right. Taz held the blue line. Boji batted it out a second. Boji fires it through neutral zone. Bear picks it up, sauces it over to Allers. Allers gaining some speed through the neutral zone. Nice cross ice to Bear. Bear gains territory from the dot. Fires just wide. Keeney's going to pick it up at the other side. Soft touch up the wall. Taz gets tangled up. Still battling on the short wall. Keeney comes into poke check. Taz falls back, pushes it deep. Boji can't get it out of the zone. Taz dumps it into the corner, goes for the change. Boji rings it around the toe kick. Allers there to pick it up on the short wall. Sauce pass out, batted down by Charlie. Charlie couldn't quite get the shot off, held the blue line. Puck finally comes loose out to neutral zone. Keeney will have a minute to reset. Keeney over to Bear. Bear charging in. Top of the circle. Push to the corner. Going behind the goal line. Sauce out to the middle. He had two boys out there. Now he's just going to fire. That one got deflected high and wide up over the net. Nice pinch by Sturba. Right as it came out of the zone. Stalled for a minute to stay on sides and then kept the offensive attack for a moment longer. Here comes Charlie in to intercept a pass. Charlie from the slot fires. Big save by the Tendy. Charlie going to work in the corner. Gets out man. Puck comes out of the zone. Bear. Neutral zone territory. Fires cross ice to Sturb. Nice handle by Sturb. Dump and chase. T-squared going in deep. Or I'm sorry, that's Paxson going in. Couldn't quite get there first. Comes back out to Bear. Fires one through the slot. Over the short wall. Sturba trying to hold the line with Keeney. Bounces out of the zone to Bear. Bear resetting in his own territory. Tries to go backhand through traffic. He does. Gets it up to Keeney. Keeney tries to backhander over for Patera. Nice interception by T-squared. Fires. Blocker down to the crease. Loose into the corner. Paxson Schneider out there. Picks it up on the short wall. Tries to backhand it in deep. Boji fires it out to neutral zone. Keeney goes hard over to Bear. Bear stick handles pass one. Loses it in the slot. Boji getting a chance here in Omaha territory. Rosie with a save. Tried to fire it out of the zone. Still knuckle pucking out to the blue line. Schneider picks it up. Gaining offensive territory. Getting rubbed towards the boards. Picked up below the goal line. Still getting snubbed by a couple of Boji players. Pushes it over to T-squared. T-squared now having a shake and bake. Soft touch out to Heater. Loses it and escapes. Loose out to Boss in neutral zone now. Boss, board pass up to T-square, just out of reach. Boji firing this one desperately out of the zone. Fired right back in, and that one's offsides. 8:27 left in the second period. 1-0. Your Mavs in the lead. That was a long shift for some of these boys. They're going to come out to neutral zone. Or I'm sorry, they're going to come out to center ice neutral zone for this face-off. Heater, Stoney, and T-squared out there on offense. Nice deflected pass by Heater as he went on the forecheck. Boji dump and chase. Boss will get there first behind his own net. Tried to ring it around behind the net. Boji fed it out to the slot. Lost control at the blue line. Nice turnaround pickup by T-squared. He pushes it off the boards to Taz. Taz has to reach. Top of the slot. Fires deflected to the corner. Heater gets there first. Lots of attackers. Loose puck behind the net. Goalie poke check. Stalled out. Vinny's control. Puck comes bobbling out to Boss at the blue line. Boss steps up. Top of the slot. Fires. Big save to the corner. Stoney pushes it to the slot. Goalie got control of it. Freezes it now with 7:45 left in the second period. Fresh legs for both teams will now hit the ice. 1-0, Mavs maintaining a lead as Fleming Nandor come out now to hold the line for the Mavs on defense, and Courtright, Taz, and Allers on offense for this Boji face-off drop. Allers tried to push it back, bouncing puck past Fleming. Nandor dumps it in deep. Courtright lost sight of it for a moment. Taz came in to help, pushed back to Nandor. A second time, got past Nandor. Fleming picks it up deep behind his own goal line. Fleming takes a look. Stick handles past one, lost control a little bit. Gained speed behind his own goal line. Keeps pumping his feet. Nice sauce. Couldn't quite get it to Courtright. Boji picked it up, fired it back into Mav territory. Rosie protects and lets it go around the side of the net. Allers feeds it through his own slot. Tried to find Courtright, but a little bit far behind him. Nandor rings it around behind to Fleming. Fleming will have to hit the brakes to dodge an attacker. Then it gets pinched on the short wall in their own territory. Kicked ahead. Fleming then pushes it ahead for Courtright. Courtright, puck race. Up the short wall. Decides to dump it on net. Goalie will freeze it as he was outnumbered by attackers and about to get mauled there along the boards. Good choice just to push it on net and let good things happen, or at least get some sort of offensive attack in some way, shape, or form. 6:47 left in the second period. 1-0, Mavs in the lead. Stoney, Sturba, Patera out there on offense with Keeney into there on defense. A poke ahead off the face-off win. Patera gets it behind the goal line. Patera stalls out in the corner. Stick handling around one defender. Pushes it over to Stoney. Stoney back to Keeney. Keeney returns the favor to Stoney, who charges the center lane. Stoney on his backhand ends up going back to Bear. Bear on the blue line. Fires towards the net. Swallowed up by the goaltender. Nice idea to try and get the goalie to go side to side in the crease. They're putting a lot of shots on goal, and the goalie's doing a great job of defending. So best thing to do is to have screened shots on goal or side to side passes to force the goalie into a lot of movement, so he's got to do a lot of resetting to make saves, right? So that's what takes goalies off of their position, is to go side to side before you shoot. Face off in Boji territory. One to the corner. Boji will pick it up in their corner, go cross ice. Almost made the pass, but Keeney was able to intercept. Pushed it up the short wall. Patera used his body to keep it going into offensive territory. Goalie kicks it off the side of the net, back to the wall. Patera still doing a great job of forechecking. Worked its way up the short wall, and a pop fly out to center ice. Over the stick of Boji, right on the stick of Keeney. Stalled out here at the dot. Boji resets, but way too many attackers for Maverick step up. Keeney will take over. Keeney moving his feet through the neutral zone. Forced to the boards. Backhands one on net, goes to the corner. Sturba tries to push one back to the slot. Defense will keep it to the boards. A board battle here. Schneider and Sturba keeping the zone. Goes behind. Patera pinches his man. Then Bear pinches his man. Stick stuck in the boards there in the offensive territory as it clears out. Pass ahead, Charlie Patera. Shot, deflected, on net, back to the corner. Patera needing to keep those elbows down, but he's pinching hard in the corner. A lot of bodies tangled up. Comes back to Bear at the blue line. He'll hold the wall. Goes to Sturba now. Sturba outnumbered in the corner. Comes out to Bear. Bear pushes it out. Fires, deflected high over the net. Stoney's the first one to it. Taken off of his tape. Keeney will hold the line though. Patera turns in the circle. Fires, deflected up over the net. Goes behind. Nice quick feet by T-Squared. Picks it up behind. Circles through the slot. Boss poke checks it back in deep for T-Squared. Boji gets control. Boss backsteps. Ike pinches, one touches and foils the charge. Stalled out in the neutral zone. Patera will pick it up. 2-on-2 developing. Patera from the dot, charging the middle. Flubs the pass, the wraparound, and a goal! Charlie Patera didn't get what he wanted out of his first shot, but ended up with the puck on his stick for a wraparound goal. And a go-ahead 2-0 now for the Omaha Jr Mavericks.
That's been one of our only attempts on this goalie that are going to be legitimate, is to get him to take a first save and then get to the back door, get it around the side of the net. Charlie read that quick and he delivered on it.
Absolutely, yeah. Another face-off drop here at center ice. Goes deep into the zone of Boji. Boji goes on the defense quickly once again. Peter was on the forecheck, came around the horn. Ike pinched from the blue line, now holding the corner, rings it back deep again. Boji gets there first. Tries to ring it up the boards, gets out of the zone, quickly right on Boston's tape. The boss up to T-Squared. T-Squared on a board battle at the blue line. Peter comes in to help, poke checks it deep into the corner. Peter working his way behind the line, foils an attacker. That's the puck, tries to push it out to D, intercepted by Boji, comes loose out to Boss. Boss tries to go cross ice to Ike, has a challenger push him off the puck, now tangled along the boards in the neutral zone. Pulled off the wall, battered into the zone. Rosie makes an easy stick save. Nice attacker. Boji got there first and was able to do a one-touch shot and fire one into the back of the net on the Omaha Mavericks. 2-1 now. Mavs still in the lead. But Boji is not going to go scoreless. 3:18 left in the second period. Rosie, thinking his man had the step on him, just did the one-touch save, thinking the puck was going to go into the corner and didn't quite make it there. Clapper got past him for the second attempt. Nandor picks up the loose puck off the face-off win. Pushes it to center to Allers. Allers backhands it up to Taz. Taz 2-on-2 with Courtright. Lots of back checkers. He gets forced to the boards. Pushes it back to Fleming. Fires into the glove. Allers rebound just wide of the net. Boji bats it down out of the sky. Pushes it to the corner. Allers goes to the short wall. Nandor picks it up on the blue. Courtright tries to deflect one. That one got saved. Boji cross ice pass to get it out of their zone. Nandor one touches. Allers now back to defend as the puck comes back to Maverick territory. He tries to sauce it up to Courtright. Boji dumps it back in deep. Nandor from behind his own goal line. 2:29 left in the second period. 2-1, Mavs in the lead. Nandor gaining speed out of his own zone. Gets past one, pinch. A nice soft check bullied him off the puck. Fleming tried to come in and help, but Boji coming back the other way. Courtright and Fleming body their man. Here comes Allers working his way through neutral zone. Feeds it to Nandy. He'll dump and change. Out comes Patera. Boji from behind their own goal line. Patera's a full forechecker creating the turnover. Sturba will help. Sturba fires one back towards the net. Stick back behind. Rung around the boards by Boji. Bear tries to pinch. Boji gets it out of the zone. Pinch again by Schneider. Stalled out at the blue line. Gains territory. They'll dump it into the corner. Boji from the corner feeds it up the short wall. Tangled up in feet and sticks. There's the penalty coming up as there's a lot of chatter after the play. Paxton The Boji player with some after the whistle attack there that I don't know if any of the referees saw. Paxton Snyder came in, likely a roughing, I believe.
High sticking.
High sticking by Snyder.
Coach's complaint is that the Boji player had his stick wrapped up and forced it high.
Yeah. So a 5-on-4, first penalty of game 2 comes on the Omaha Mavericks. Face off in Maverick territory. One nicely back by Stoney. Fired hard out of the zone by Bear. That one stalled out. Icing's waved off. Patera's the first one to it. Goal line, fires. Bad angle right into the chest of the goalie. Nice hustle by Charlie Patera. Holy cow. I don't know.
Beat it to the line.
I don't know how Bear's hard rifling shot stalled out right there in the circle, but it was like the perfect dump out of the zone, and Charlie turned on the afterburners to get there first. Stoney and Patera stay out there. Now face-off draw in offensive territory. Charlie gets the save off the draw, or Charlie got the shot off the draw. Goalie made the save. Cross-ice pass. Boji outnumbered by defense, forced to the wall by the boss. Circling behind Mavericks net, feed to the middle, flubbed the shot, picked up by Charlie. Charlie, outnumbered by defense, making his way through the neutral zone, forced to the boards, loses control momentarily, tangled up at the bench, poked out to neutral zone. Stoney picks up, fires it. Shot picked up in the circle by Boji. Boji goes cross ice, making the way through the neutral zone, fires just out of the zone, and a big glove save by Rosie. And a delayed whistle by referee finally blows it dead with 44 seconds left in the second period. Paxton's got 40 seconds left in the penalty box of the 44 seconds left in the second period. 2-1, Mavs in the lead, but down a man right now, playing 5-on-4 shorthanded hockey. Tangled up face-off win in the Mavericks circle, comes loose through the slot, working its way out to the blue line. Sword fighting to get it out. Nandor pitchforks it and stalls it out right in the circle of Boji's territory. Boji circles behind their own net. Vinny doing a good job of forechecking. Holler's trying to stall it out. Creates just enough flub. Nice behind the back. Pass by Fleming to get it coming the other way. Hollers gets past one. Can't get past the second. Vinny Heater will just fire one. That'll get saved and kicked to the side. Boji fires one out of the zone. Bounces over Nandor's tape. Icing waved off. Fleming picks it up as the buzzer sounds to end the second period. 2-1, Mavs in the lead. Mavs now full strength as Paxton came out of the box there just 4 seconds before the period ended.
This goalie's doing a phenomenal job, just sucking everything up, stopping every play that we get a shot off.
Their goalie just, you're saying, you nailed it there, Chase. Their goalie, it takes more than just a clean shot on goal to get past him. You got to get him going side to side. You got to work the deflections. You got to have him screened. Just a clear lane, hard shot isn't going to beat this Tendy. He's way too sharp. He's a big guy too. Covers the tree, fills the net well, and sets up, squares up to the shooter. So kudos to the Boji goaltending because Mavericks are doing a great job still here of keeping the puck in the offensive territory and creating scoring chances. So we're going to take a second here to thank Joe Challen Tax Services. Thank you, Grandpa Joe, for your support and sponsorship of the Omaha Jr Mavericks. Thank you, Nebraska Electric Power Sports. They have dirt bikes for all ages, and they support the Omaha Jr Mavericks. And thank you, Cottonwood Salon Suite, for your support as well. Thank you, Aunt Jessie. And thank you, Charleston Custom Homes, for being voted #1 Best of Omaha in 2025 and your sponsorship of the Omaha Jr Mavericks. We're going to put a fresh 12 minutes on the clock to start the third and final period of game 2. 6-period hockey game, you know, when we get these back-to-back friendlies, it's like playing a 6-period game against the same team. And luckily, these have been nice and friendly games, minimal penalties. Face-off one, cleanly back to Mavericks. Keeney steps up and dumps it in deep. Heater will go on the forecheck. Can't quite get there first. Boji playing it around the horn behind their own net. Keeney will pinch it at the blue line. Pop it up for a moment, use his feet. Nice stall out, but then Boji will skate it out of their zone. Stoney stepped back to cover defense. Used his body nicely to force to the boards and foil any sort of shot on goal. That puck went around the horn, coming out of the zone by Heater now. Stalled out in the neutral zone. Bear will pick it up, reset, sauce it over to T-squared. T-squared batted off the boards. Boji picks it up at their blue line. We'll play a little ping pong in the neutral zone here. Bear fires it hard, finds Heater at the blue line. Heater gains offense. 3-on-3. Bouncing puck through the slot. Stoney couldn't get his tape on it. Goes to the wall. T-squared pulls it off the wall, gets to the dot, getting mauled, fired off the side of the net. Boji hustles to it, rings it off the glass. Keeney stops it at the blue line. Boji picks up the loose puck, gains speed into the neutral zone. Plenty on Mavs defense back. Toe drag, loses control. Keeney batted it to the boards. Rung up the short wall to T-squared. T-squared, long, hard cross-ice pass. Tried to find Heater, but goes loose into Boji territory. Heater on the forecheck, couldn't quite get there. Now on the back check, doing a good job. Courtright and Aller stall it out right as it came out of the zone, but Boji went cross-ice, gains territory. Flub shot goes wide of the net. Boji feeds it back to their blue line. Blue line couldn't quite get it on zone through traffic. Bear picks up the loose puck, circles behind his net. Pop fly, just nice and soft out, almost intercepted, but Allers, Taz, and Courtright. 3-on-3 back into offensive territory. Tried to get it to Taz. Taz got mauled from behind. Boji tries to get it out of the zone. Boss held it nicely. Courtright all alone on the short wall. Tried to get it to Allers. That one got kicked away. This one comes back out to Boss now at neutral zone. Nice cross-ice pass to Allers. Allers gains zone, tries to stick handle, gets it back. Forced back behind the wall, or behind the goal line. Still in a board battle. Now Taz and another defender. Puck comes off the side of the net. Allers crashing now. Wrap around by Taz. Pushed back to the corner. Puck working its way up the short wall. Boss will pinch and hold the line. Boji gets a second chance. That one comes out. Odd man rush. 3-on-1 by Boji. They'll just dump it on zone. Rosie makes a big save, pushes it back out to the slot, turn, push towards the net. Rosie another save, but not a third. Boji ties it up 2-2. Having trouble clearing the crease after 2 saves. You can't expect your goalie to make 3 saves in a row. Mavs desperately needing to back check and clear the crease. Boji, way too many shot attempts there on that net crash. 2-2 now the score in the third period. 9:12 left in the game. Sturba, Patera, Paxson out there on offense. Boji lands on it. As the boys go down on the ice after the draw, a puck goes batted to the boards. Patera picks it up off the boards, outnumbered by defense. Forced deep behind the goal line. Patera gets to his own loose puck. Comes out of the corner, cross centers to Schneider. Schneider tried to one-touch it to Nandor, just a little out of reach. Nandor backhands over to Fleming. Fleming changes direction, working his way through the neutral zone. Loses control to Patera. Patera in a sword fight, right as he entered the zone, come loose back out to neutral zone. Nandor to Schneider. Schneider back to Nandor. Circles in his own zone, tried to backhand it, kicked by a Boji player, back behind the net. Nandor ties up his man. Fleming, pop fly into the rafters, comes barreling down and stops the play as that one tickled the rafters with that one, as they say. 8:22 left in the game. 2-2 the score. Face-off in Maverick territory. Stoney, Heater, T-squared come out on the face-off draw with Bear, and I think it's Keeney out there as well with it. Keeney taps it ahead. This puck comes wild out of the zone. Icing if it touches up. Yes, it does. Almost beat the icing. T-squared turning on the burners to get there. Disappointed that he didn't get there in time, but what an effort. We're going to repeat the face-off draw down here in Maverick territory with the same legs on the ice. 8:13 left in the game now, all tied up. Goalie for the Boji, high on his horse now as he's been holding the crease for him. Boji tries to shoot, a deflection. Nice shot attempt by Boji, goes to the corner. Pinched by Bear in the corner. Nice pop fly by Heater in a puck race. Getting the win, comes up, flip from behind, shot gets saved. Coming back out of the zone, lost control of the pass, goes loose into Mav territory. Keeney taps it up the short wall. Boji can't quite get there. T-squared now going through the neutral zone. T-squared, stick handling in the circle, stalls at the short wall. Cross ice to Bear, top of the circle, fires off the post, comes back out. Vinny Heater trying to get it into the corner. T-squared comes in to help. T-squared drags it behind him, now behind the net. Thought about going Michigan. Pop back up to the short wall on the other side. Vinny Heater trying to get there. Bear fires one towards the net. Big stick save by the Tendy. Stops the clock with 7:17 left in the game. 2-2, your score. Fresh legs for the Mavs are Allers, Courtright, Taz. As we take a face-off in Boji territory. Ike and the Boss holding the line. Allers with the one touch into the ref's feet. Courtright comes in to help. Picked up the short wall. Fired in by Boss. Picked up by Boji. Boji pushes it out to center ice. Cross ice pass. Dumped in deep on Rosie. He's going to swallow it up, and I guarantee he's going to freeze him now from now on, because that one goal that he tried to kick to the corner didn't get there aggressive enough, and he's probably never going to make that mistake again. 7 minutes left in the game. Face off in Mav territory. Allers, hard win over to the boards, pinched in the corner. Boss feeds it up to Courtright. Courtright starts gaining his way out of the zone. Backhand up to Taz. 2-on-2. Taz forced to the boards. Stalls out at the short wall, dumps it in deep. Allers collects in the corner, hits the brakes. As an attacker body him off the puck. Boji now making their way out of their zone. Goes cross ice. The one touch intercepted by Boss. Boss sends it up the short wall to the red line. Boji starts pushing it up the wall and a little back and forth in the neutral zone. Boji trying to muscle their way in offensive territory. Nice job by Ike. Ike gets it out, up to Allers. Allers over to Ike. Ike's got momentum, outnumbered by defense. Gets to the circle, now to the goal line, and a chip shot up over the top of the net. Puck in the opposite corner, rung around. Sturba picks it up at the short wall, fires it towards the slot. Patera below the goal line, pinches his man, trying to make his way out. Sturba gets a backhander off, kick to the side. Ike fires another one on net. That one, goalie made look easy. 5:54 left in the game. Not sure what the shots on goal are here, but definitely lopsided in Mavericks' favor. Something fierce. Schneider, Patera, Sturba out there on offense, Fleming and Nandor on defense. Face off in Boji territory, batted deep into the corner. Sturba rung up the wall. Fleming held the line, batted it back in deep. Schneider's going to try and poke check on the short wall. Patera's there to help. Boji gets it out of the zone. One player trying to ink their way through the neutral zone. Bodied off by Sturba, picked up by Fleming. Moving his feet to get it out of the zone, stalled out of his own blue line. Boji turns it over. Turned over once again. Schneider gaining zone, top of the circle, fires. Big save by the Tendy. Just shots on goal, shots on goal, shots on goal by this Omaha Maverick team. 5:22 left in the game. 2-2 the score. Not due to a lack of effort. Mavericks needing a screen, a one-touch pass, or a deflection to probably beat this goalie and win this game. Sturba, Schneider, Patera still out there on offense. Face-off draw goes to the corner quick. Nando kept it in. Back and forth along the wall. Schneider held the line, batted it in deep. Patera couldn't get there first. Boji back up the short wall. Gets past Nandor this time. Nandor softly over to Fleming. Fleming on his own blue line. Soft touch up the boards to Sturba. Sturba up to Stoney. Stoney from the dot. Tried to toe drag. Couldn't get around one player. Fleming tried to pinch. Boji gets it out of the zone. Nice back check by Stoney. Nicer back check by Fleming. In comes T-squared. T-squared with some speed. Goal line to the middle. Shot deflected wide. T-Squared will still with it in the corner, battling. T-Squared outnumbered, making his way down below the goal line, changes directions, pushes it out to Nandor. Nandor had it bounce over his tape, backhanded over to Fleming. Mavericks reset, Fleming gets the charge, top of the slot, loses control, tap to the board. Heater, pinching. Nandor had it bounce over his tape, Fleming circles, pushes it over to T-Squared. T-Squared. Stalled out at the blue line. Mavs forced to reset. Bear picks it up at red line, dumps it in deep. The chase of the attackers. Heater didn't get there first. Boji rings it around to Bear. Bear holds the blue line. Nice soft touch off the boards. Kicks it marching towards the circle. Tangled up at the dot. Tries to bat it to the slot. Heater tries to fire it towards the net. Boji fired it out of the zone. Heater back to Stoney. Stoney covering for Bear. Pop fly up to court right at the red line. Backhands it into the zone. Boji fires it right back out to neutral zone. Stoney going to work at the red line. Loose puck comes out to Bear at center ice in his own zone. A one touch right back to him. Gets pinched at the blue line. Boji loses the puck to Keeney. Pushes it up to Courtright. Courtright loses it in opponent's skates. Sword fights to get back control of it. Stoney batted off of his tape. He regains control. Pushes it back to Keeney. Keeney marches forward. Has his pass deflected into the zone. Boji fires it right back out. Bear resetting at the red line, pushes it back to Keeney. Keeney takes a look, fires up to Courtright. Courtright can't quite maintain the pass control. Bear pushes it into offensive territory. Less than 3 minutes now in the game. 2-2 to score as we continue to do a little back and forth in the neutral zone. Boji stalled out the minute they got to the top of the circle. Courtright tried to get it out of the zone. Boji held the line. Bear pops it up over everybody's tape. Taz is there to kick it ahead. We'll go back into neutral zone play. Hollers intercepts one in the neutral zone. Taz helping out, pushes it deep into Boji territory. Hollers on the forecheck. Boji passes it out of the zone. We'll continue this ping pong back and forth here as we near 2 minutes now left in the game. Hollers gets control, hitting body deep from the goal line. Shot just off the side of the net. He had a little window there, and I thought he was going to beat him. Puck tangled up now on the short wall. Pulled off the wall by Patera. Tried to go to find Sturba in the slot, and that one got picked up by Boji. They go off the boards around Boss. Ike hustling back towards it. Loose puck in the corner. Ike, nice one touch. Gaining speed. Another one off the boards to get around another attacker. Ike gaining speed through the neutral zone. Gains offense. Forced to the dot. From the goal line, pop flies one right into the chest as he made it look like he was going to do a wraparound. Ended up shooting short side, and the goalie swallowed it up. Minute 42 left in the game. 2-2 the score. Schneider, Sturba, Patera out there on offense. Ike and the Boss on defense. Face-off drop. Back to the Boss. A shot didn't get through traffic. Comes back to the Boss. He pushes it up to the corner. Boji fires it hard around behind their net. Picks it up in their corner on the opposite side. Ike picks it up at the blue line. Tries to skate it ahead. Steps back. Schneider then fires it in deep around behind the goal line. Patera gets there first. Hits the brakes. Uses his stick moves to try and go behind his back. It gets pinched by a player. Now forced back behind the net. Patera behind the goal line once again. Behind the net. Inking his way out to the crease. Can't quite get the shot off. Too many sticks and feet in the way. Boji back out to the blue line. Schneider will hold it. Fire it back in behind. Sturba on the forecheck. Loose puck out to Ike. Fires. Big glove save. 53 seconds left in the game. 2-2 the score. Nice offensive keep by the Mavs. I would say only probably 2 actual shots on goal by that shift, but nonetheless in the offensive zone for almost 100% of that shift. Stoney, let's see, Heater and T-Squared out there. Stoney batted it deep into the corner. Boji rings it around hard. Nandor pushes it up to T-Squared, fires, goal, score,
Glove save.
glove save. He had a lot of far side open net though, and goalie was able to reach out. That's the advantage of a big goalie, right?
Oh yeah.
You look like you have a lot of open net, but a big goalie can reach out and cover that space quickly. Face-off one back to Nandor. Nandor pushed it up the short wall. Boji fed it around hard to the other side. Fleming steps up, picks it up on the short wall, fires it back behind. Nandor forcing the pinch, but Boji got around him. Nice job by Stoney to use his feet, stall it out at the red line. Boji picks it back up, gains territory, toe drags one, big shot, and a huge save by Rosie. Shuts the door. 21 seconds left in the game. 2-2 the score. A broken offensive attack and a dangerous shot on goal that came in hard on Rosie. Nice face-off win by Stoney over to Heater. Heater a little bit behind T-squared, but he gets control. Top of the circle, now down, fires right into the chest. 11 seconds left in the third period. 2-2 still to score. Offensive attack comes quickly right back down into Boji territory. Let's see, Nandor, Fleming out there on D, T-square, Patera, and Stoney out there on O. One touch ahead into the corner. It's the last 10 seconds here. Ink off the clock. A loose puck by Boji back down into Maverick territory. Fleming picks it up. He loses footing, but the clock's going to stop, and we'll end this one in a tie. Mavs win one and tie one against the Boji Blizzard here for friendly weekend at Moto McLean Ice Arena. I'm going to say the Boji owe it all to that goaltender, because that boy good.
He is good.
Holy smokes. That kid, he's probably the biggest kid on the team from what I'm seeing, and he is an unbelievable goaltender in the net for that Boji team.
Sometimes when they're bigger than their age group, they lose some athleticism, but he has the movement, he's got the flexibility. He's able to cover that net amazingly well.
Fantastic job by the Omaha Mavericks. Kept a lot of that puck in the offensive zone, or at least from the red line on this half of the ice for a large majority of both games. Can't say they didn't try, because the shots on goal were just tremendous. Look at this. Some a Boji player with Patera and Rosie, must be an old teammate or an old friend, getting a shot from the crowd here. Nice picture-taking opportunity there between some opponents, and some good sportsmanship by both teams. Good, nice, fair play. Like, we didn't see a whole lot of just crazy penalties. We saw some nice, I don't know if gentle hitting is the right term for it, but just clean hitting that took place, and it wasn't overly aggressive physical play. It was just good, clean hockey, and that's what we like to see out of these friendlies. The goaltending kept Mavericks to a tie game here, and yeah, we can end game. Thanks, Sarah. I appreciate your help today. Thanks, Sean Sturba, for all your support of the Omaha Jr Mavericks.
Love the Mavs.
And he's helping out since Dave had to leave early and tend to Vivian's hockey game here on Sunday. Wish Dave was here. Wish Coach Taz was here. We're missing Wyatt Tremaine. We're missing Jack Davis, JJ Frankie, JJ. Thank you so much for your support. We're going to thank one last time Charleston Custom Homes, voted #1 in 2025, and a huge sponsorship support. The Omaha Jr Mavericks. Thank you, Cottonwood Salon Suites. Yeah, Jesse, for everything you do for the Mavericks. Thank you, Joe Chalin Tax Service. Grandpa Joe supports the Mavs in a big way, and we appreciate everything you do. And thank you, Nebraska Electric Power Sports, for selling fun in Nebraska and your support of the Omaha Jr Mavericks. We're going to spend the next 2 weeks practicing hard here at the Omaha Jr Mavericks in Omaha. No games until the following Saturday, February 12th, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, when the Mavs will be contending for the President's Day Cup that weekend. And so we'll be sending out schedules, and we'll be sending out live broadcasts from Minneapolis, Minnesota next. Thank you, everybody, for watching and all your support of the Mavericks, and we'll see you next time.